especially seniors, reading the newspaper is as much a part of the morning routine as eating breakfast. However, if suddenly you were unable to see well enough to enjoy the paper along with your coffee, where would you turn? Joining me now to tell us about the SightLine program is Lynne Marshall with WUWF Public Media. Lynne, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we appreciate the nice article that you contributed to Coming of Age magazine about SightLine, and we had lots of great feedback, so I wanted to have you on and talk a little bit about it. So what is SightLine?
SightLine is primarily a service for the vision impaired. Now that can mean somebody who is congenitally blind or somebody maybe who's lost their vision from an accident or an illness, macular degeneration. A lot of folks listen to SightLine. But it's a reading service. We read the morning paper, a lot of other things, and then we carry also a service where they can listen to magazines of all different varieties.
Well, great. Well, how did y'all get involved in this program?
WSRE had supported the program for nearly 2 decades, for 18 years, and after another round of budget cuts, they were forced to let it go. And we read about it in the newspaper. Our executive director, Pat Crawford, said, it's just a service in the community we can't let go. So he basically thought that WWF could absorb it, and we did a pretty quick turnaround. Within about 6 weeks after it stopped at WSRE, we had converted an office space into a studio dedicated to SightLine. Some local attorneys supported that conversion to the tune of about $6,000. That was very generous. And we recruited volunteers and began the service. Like I say, it took us about 6 weeks to get it up and running.
So what kind of feedback do you get from the listeners?
Well, we started getting feedback as soon as the newspaper ran another article saying that we were going to start the service again, and people just thanking us because their morning paper was so much a part of their routine, particularly for people who'd lost their vision. Sure. And they were just so excited that we were going to bring it back. So, and then I have people call me if there's something wrong with the signal. I have people call me who just found out about it. The article that you ran in the Coming of Age magazine was great. We've already had response from that, and people saying, you know, can you help me? I need a little to understand a little bit more about how to get the service. So.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute, but tell us a little bit more about the hours, and you mentioned you're reading the local newspaper, is that correct? Yes,
we read the Pensacola News-Journal live from 9 to 11 each morning, and then that gets rebroadcast again from noon to 2, from 9 to 11 at night, and if anybody is an insomniac, it gets broadcast again from midnight till 2 o'clock in the morning. So
now it's also archived somewhere, I believe. Is that correct?
We do. We archive it on our website for a week, and so if you missed yesterday's paper, you can go the following day and hear that if you'd like to.
And you mentioned the Sunday Selections and Gateway, I believe it's called?
Yes, Sunday Selections is another local program that we do where a volunteer, and these are different people who read books for us. It could be a novel or it could be something that's nonfiction, and then we broadcast those week by week until the book is finished, and that is on Sunday afternoons on SightLine from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. And we just recently started a children's hour, which is broadcast right after that from 3 to 4. The first time of the week it's broadcast on Saturday 3 to 4. We do rerun that on Sunday 3 to 4 and then again on Wednesday. So there's a first half hours for younger children, and we read what would be considered picture books, although we're not looking at the pictures, but we read those stories and some poems and things like that. And then the second half hour is for a little bit older child, and it's a chapter book that we'll read again until it's finished.
Great.
So that's
Some
just
grandparents
started.
might want to take advantage of helping their grandchildren.
Well, and there are
with
children
that.
who are born blind. Sure. One of the ladies who reads in the children's hour has a son who is blind, so she knows the value of it.
You have lots of very dedicated volunteers, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what do they say they get out of it?
They just like to know that they're being of service. It's just wonderful, and that's been one of the exciting things about the program is all of the wonderful people that come into WUWF. We say hi to them every morning. They go about their business. Usually 2 or 3 people are reading the newspaper. And they are always interested to hear if I've had any calls from anybody or any emails from anybody about the service. But
well, now, how do people get it? I know there's been some HD, the radio, and all that. Explain a little bit about how you can actually receive this in your car or at home.
Okay, there's several different ways. To begin with, most of the people who had known about SightLine were receiving it through the SAP channel on their TV. That's a secondary audio programming. It's the one that runs the descriptive services, if there are such, for a program that's going on. So WSRE agreed to continue to partner with us and run that over their secondary audio programming channel. It's difficult to explain exactly how to do it because everybody's remote control on their TV is a little bit different, but you go to your remote control for your TV, go into the menu and set it for that SAP is how it will appear on your menu. Once you get it set for that, you can hear the SightLine signal all day long. And then if you wanted to listen to the TV, you would go back and change.
And what about just on a radio?
On the radio, you're not going to hear it over our analog channel. You would hear it over an HD radio. Those are what's called a hybrid digital. HD in radio doesn't stand for high definition like it does in TV. Those, you can just go Google and purchase those. They're tabletop models, or some cars are being built with those in there. So they're now about maybe $150 range.
Okay, so they go to 88.1, they're not going to get this. They're going to need this special piece of equipment to access the HD channel.
Right, and they get HD channels from other radio stations too. We were all required to go to that just like TV was. Right. The other way that they can get it is if they have computer access, they can go to our website and there's a Listen, Watch Now menu button. If they go to that, then they can access HD3, which is SightLine. It'll be identified as both. So
okay, we got lots of options, and I know y'all are really good to answer more detailed questions when people call.
Really, if anyone is having trouble, just call, and not only will your questions be answered over the phone, we've even made house calls. So
right, y'all are great, and really appreciate y'all picking up this service and providing it for the community.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back with more Coming of Age and what you need to know about Medicare open enrollment period.